Cat people, how are you today? I am Catlady Antigoni and today we are talking about the most unique palettes in my collection. Well, this video will have two parts. Obviously, today we are doing part 1 and basically in this part I have included all the palettes that are more than 2 years old. A little bit kinda more difficult to be found because they are super old in the sense like I have palettes which are 5 years old or even more, or even 7 I would say. Anyway, so you cannot really find them that easy on eBay, for example, and stuff like that. Of course, I don't aim to cause you any anxiety. Of course, you don't need old and expired palettes in your collection. The only reason that I'm showing you this video and these palettes is because talking about this topic brings me personally a lot of joy and I would like to share some positive vibes with you. I don't say that these color schemes that you will see in the palettes that I'm going to show you today is very unique or irreplaceable or anything like this. I'm sure you will have these eyeshadows in your collection, and please, if you see the palettes and if you have some of them in your collection, please don't say, oh nice, I remember this palette, I'm gonna do a makeup using this. No. They are expired, they are super expired, specifically the palettes that you will see today. So even I personally don't use them for eye makeup. I have them as decoration. I love looking at them. They're my personally beloved collection. So this is what I highly suggest you to do as well with your palettes. If you have these specific palettes, if you have anything similar in your own collection, please don't use them on your eyes. And one last thing that I would like to mention before I start with the palettes is that everything that you will see today is absolutely cruelty free, so you can enjoy a little bit more. And without any further ado, let's start with the palettes! The first palette that I'm gonna show you today is the collaboration between Urban Decay and Game of Thrones. And I mean, this is nostalgic, right? Anyway, I'm unboxing the palette because I keep the box and everything. It's so pretty. Even if you see inside the box, it has some unique designs. It's super beautiful. Now, when it comes to the actual palette, I mean, this is a piece of art. Look at it. It opens like a book. It has a mirror. And if you grab this, ta-da! A 3D throne, and tell me that this is not beautiful. If you see the actual palette now, you need to grab this and ta-da! We have the palette. Yes, the packaging is super bulky, I know, but I don't think that this is a palette which is made for traveling or a lot of transportation and stuff like that. Instead, you can admire the art here. The palette as it is, it represents kind of like the 4 different themes from Game of Thrones. This is for Starks and winter and stuff like that. This is from Lannisters and their golden, you know, outfits and legacy and stuff like that. This is for Daenerys and fire and dragons, and I think this is for Winterfell as well. So I think that each color scheme is very representative to the area that they try to depict with this palette. I just love it. I try not to use it that much because I'm planning to keep it forever. It's just such a pretty palette. It's art. To me, this is the definition of art. It's just so beautiful. Next, we have another collaboration, this time between Too Faced and Kat Von D. Who remembers this palette? Actually, it's a heart and it's magnetic, as you can see here. Super beautiful. Now, let's analyze it a little bit. Let's see the Too Faced part. It has more kind of neutral eyeshadows, a little bit more sweet and romantic colors, as you can see here, while on the other hand we have Kat Von D's part where we can find more bold eyeshadows, dark black, grey, red, kinda like goth vibe. I personally love how different are these two styles. I mean, even the pants here we see cute hearts, while at the Kat Von D's side we see these rectangles. These are so pretty. They both paid attention to the details, and I feel that back then, if someone owned this duo, they could do a lot of different makeup looks, like from day to the Too Faced side until night with Kat Von D's side. I mean, the possibilities possibilities here were endless, and as a product it was quite innovative for its era back then, and I would say it would be innovative even nowadays because it's very unique as an idea and I haven't seen anything similar either before or nowadays. Let's remain a little bit to the Kat Von D brand because here we have the palette which is called Fetish. I mean, it's so pretty and it's so unique as a palette. Kat Von D back in the day used to have so many nice ideas, so many unique items and makeup designs, and she used to pay attention to every little detail. I mean, even the tubes from her liquid lipstick were quite unique. Amazing word. I'm so sad nowadays that KVD Beauty has taken completely different direction. I cannot find this kind of goth beauty that I used to like in the original Kat Von D brand, and anyway, that's my personal opinion anyway. You might like this brand a little bit more, you might not like Kat Von D as a person. This is quite relevant to what we are doing right now because we are talking strictly about products and how unique they are. So anyway, back to the topic, back to the palette. Here we can see a quite innovative color scheme, at least for the time that this palette was released. I mean, it's super dark and moody and something that you didn't see a lot back in the day, at least. The names are so well thought, so much in themed. I like that even at the mirror there is the detail of the weave. I mean, she used to pay attention to every single detail and everything indicates that. I like this kind of faux leather effect. Of course, the brand was and it's still vegan, so of course it's not real leather, which we appreciate a lot, but this luxurious feeling that I get and the stitches and everything, it's just so beautiful. Tell me if you have anything similar in your collection nowadays. Tell me if there's a brand nowadays who is doing packaging like this, and either you like it or you don't like it. We all need to agree that this is something that it's very difficult to be found nowadays, right? Next I'm gonna show you a more cute palette, and I'm talking about a palette which is coming from I Heart Revolution. It is called Candy and it's basically an egg, an Easter egg, quite literally. Well, look at it! Isn't it so cute and nice? Well, in this video I'm kinda avoiding talking about the actual quality of the eyeshadows because, I mean, these are palettes that were released kinda like 3, 4, 5 years ago, so of course there is no comparison with the technology that exists nowadays, so I'm just commenting about the actual packaging, the color schemes, the ideas behind them and stuff like that, just to make it clear for you. Now back to relevancy, back to the palette. Here we have a very cute and kinda like spring friendly color scheme. Of course this palette is discontinued, that's why I didn't include it to my 10 spring palettes. It's quite old, it's quite expired, I can smell it, but it's very well used as well. When I bought it I was super happy. It was affordable, it was very girly, it has that vibe, it had some very beautiful pinks that I love to use. I broke these two highlighters kinda like 2 times each. I kinda repressed them by myself. I didn't know how to repress correctly powders back then, so I did a lot of experiments in order to have these. Fortunately, they kinda survived, they kinda worked a little bit more, but nowadays, no, I don't think that they are working. But all in all, I almost finished this eyeshadow, which is quite an achievement. This palette is not very usable nowadays, but I will always love it because it's so cute. At this point, I would like to tell you that if you're interested about this makeup that you see right here, it's the makeup that I have done when I was reviewing the Glam Light and Barbie palette. So there is a step-by-step tutorial available here at my channel. I hope that this is up by the time that you see this video. If it's not, please subscribe in order not to miss it if you're interested to see it. And if it is available, I will try to remember to put a card up here. Another very interesting and unique palette is this one right here, which is coming from Jeffree Star. Well, I'm talking about the Alien palette, and let me show you the palette. Oh, it's super beautiful, super unique, and I love the 3D eyes on the alien. I love this pink color. I love the fake leather once again, and I know that it's fake because the Jeffree Star brand is vegan vegan, so I had no doubts about that. Well, when it comes to the color scheme, again, it's very innovative because it contains these grungy colors, and I feel that they were not that common for the time that this palette was released. It also has this kind of very beautiful, not really green, how's it called? In Greek we would say turquoise, turquoise, well, of course, obviously, and this kind of neon yellow which is called abduction. I don't think that I have anything similar in my palette collection with this color, so whenever I need something like that, I have to dive into this palette. Also, with this palette I experienced my first duochrome, and I'm talking about the eyeshadow which is called Probe, which is a very beautiful green to brown. It was a very interesting color, and I was trying to understand how is the technology of duochrome is working back then. Nowadays I have a lot of duochromes in my collection, but this is my first one, so I kinda always love it and appreciate it. And I know a lot of you do not like Jeffree Star as a person, but I try to separate the art from the artist. As I have told you a million times, this palette is discontinued, so I feel that I have the right to talk about it and kind of appreciate the artwork, right? And now it's time for the Greek word of the day. Well, the palette's name is Alien, that's why I'm gonna tell you the Greek word for alien. So in Greek we say exogenos. Say with me, exogenos, exogenos. As always, I'm gonna ask you to try to write a comment down below using the word exogenos, or actually tell me the word in your own native language. Back to cute stuff, back to I Heart Revolution, back to Easter collections. Here I'm gonna tell you about the series Pet Shop, and specifically the bunny palette, which is called Fluffy. This amazing, super cute white bunny right here. Let me open the palette to show you what's the colors inside. Ta-da! Here we have kind of like double-sided palette, very spring friendly colors. Again, I didn't include this palette to my spring palettes video because it's very old, very discontinued, and it kinda smells bad nowadays. So of course, if you have it, please don't use it. I don't want you to be inspired to use kinda that expired makeup. I see some very beautiful shadows here, and I remember that the quality was very decent for back then, and I only paid something like €5 or even less for this palette, so definitely worth it, and it's gonna be a part of the studio decoration at some point, so it was definitely a great deal. Last but definitely not least palette for today's video is another palette for Kat Von D. And don't forget, another video is coming, part 2 is coming, so you're gonna see more palettes. Well, I'm gonna tell you about probably my favorite palette. Yeah, it's still my favorite. What can I do? It's such a pretty palette. Well, the palette is called Saint and Sinner. I love this palette so much. Like, I have it for how many years? 5, 6, something like that, and it's still my favorite. I mean, the color scheme, look at the color scheme, it's just incredible. You see, I have used it a lot, because basically I learned makeup with this palette. When I was doing my makeup lessons, me and my teacher have this palette, and I was practicing a lot, and as you can see, this palette provides me with a lot of different colors. I could come up with a million different combinations, so it was a great palette for me to begin with and not have to buy, you know, a million palettes. Like, I was very broke back then. Anyway, when it comes to the color scheme, we see a lot of different colors placed in a not very logical order, and this is what I love about this palette. I know that a lot of people actually depotted every shadow in this palette and they rearranged, and I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, Kat Von D have used the concept of stained glasses at the churches, and I mean, this whole placement of colors has a meaning, and specifically for me, you know how much I get inspired when I don't see all the matching colors together, and when I see kinda the colors randomly put, I get so much inspiration because I get to think outside the box, and this is actually great. Well, if you ask me, I don't use this palette nowadays, but I love this palette nowadays a lot. And no matter how many palettes I will have in my collection, this will be among like my top 5 favorites. right now it's my top favorite. Like this artwork, this elegance, even the letters, everything is so well thought, and I really miss Kat Von D, the old brand, the original brand, the true goth brand. And that was it. This was our video for today. Don't forget, part 2 is coming very soon. And at this point, I would like to thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate you a lot. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, everywhere. My name is Catlady Antigoni, and I will be very happy to see you there. Well, see you on Monday with a makeup tutorial. And until then, bye bye!